How to start your own Dynasty Fantasy Football League. I'm your host, Johnny B, UpsideDownDrafting.com. Thanks for joining us. Well, the first step you got to do is figure out how many casual fans you have. These guys on a scale level of 1 to 5 or a 1. Maybe they're just a dad in the league, or if this is a family league, it's a brother and uncle. Somebody who just casually watches fantasy football and the NFL. You got your class clown, the fantasy knucklehead here, the donkey type. He's 2 out of 5. He's next level up from a casual fan. He knows a little bit, but he's just playing for fun. This is not that big of a deal for him. Then you got these guys that really want to be good, man. They wear the jerseys to draft day. They want to be good like the big boys, but they're just not. They're usually always talking and squawking, and you're tired of hearing them every year what they're gonna do because they never can and show what they should do. You got your smarter than the average bear. He's 4 out of 5. If you're going to examine your redraft league, let's pool as many of these guys as you can. These are 4 out of 5 talent, skill level-wise. They've been playing fantasy. Chances are they definitely are in more than one league, and the chances of them winning a title in the past are pretty good. Try to find as many of these as you can. And then you have your veterans, 5 out of 5. These guys are definitely the ones you really want to target. Obviously, you're a commissioner if you're listening to this show because you have to organize all these ruffians, just like I did. So the chances are you're going to go down my list, you're going to see what you're looking at in your current redraft league, and then you're going to go recruit a couple guys. You're going to go try to get some 4s and 5s if you can, but the chances are, and I think, if you're going to do Dynasty Fantasy Football, start off with a family league. Make it fun. That way you know who you're dealing with. Sometimes in Dynasty, when you go out too far, the outer banks, if you will, the outer waters, you're going to find people you don't know, and the relationships aren't there. Dynasty is about trading assets. Everyone's going to have a certain number of players, and if these are not family members, sometimes it's not fun. So I get it. With that said, if you're going to keep it tight with your own family, your own redraft, you're going to get some 1, 2s, and 3s. That's just how it is. But it's a fun, good blended mix. With that, I'd say step number 2 for your Dynasty Fantasy Football League is to select the rules committee. I would pick, including yourself because you're the smart guy out of the bunch, 2 other veterans to comprise a 3-man rules committee. Eventually, when the season gets going, you will step back from that. Because to start a league, you're basically one of the rules committee guys, right? Even though you're the commish. Eventually, when the season starts, you can assign somebody else. So it's you, the commish, and 3 people to run the rules committee. It's sometimes hard to get those 3 right out of the gates. Try to get 2. Make yourself the 3rd one at the beginning. And then as the season goes on, you do need to step back and separate yourself from a 3-man rules committee. These guys help the league and ultimately help a commish stay true to his word. I mean, the commish is only there to hold what's right, keep the good values, and keep the league running so you don't have any sort of banshees, storming the steps and, asking for their money back and, treason and, collusion. You don't want any of that. So the rules committee is kind of this like veil that no one can pierce because you're standing behind it and you're going to have this rules committee dictate what's going on anytime any sort of controversy rolls up. So I would recommend early in the year, March, April, get these guys together, get a date, meet up, set some ground rules, then present everything you're thinking of, right? Brainstorm, put it in an email, and then start sending these to group invites out to those people you're talking about. Step 3 for your Dynasty League is going to be a Dynasty League constitution. You're going to have to pull all those good ideas and put them into, yes, sir, just like our founding fathers, a full-on constitution with details, roster spots, settings, IR spots, waiver, penalties, draft day, details, and the whole shebang. Once you get it in a constitution, you're on your way to step number 4. Step number 4 in your Dynasty League. All right, so now I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, but just watch this. Stay with me. We're going to get to the core draft and how that works. I'm going to talk about the live draft, my favorite part. You're going to have to find a backyard to make this relevant and exciting for your owners to come back. Hey, win or lose, you want them to show up, right? Each year, Dynasty gets better. The fun part about Dynasty is whether you win or lose, you're always building something. So you can look back and say, yeah, I got here to here, and now I'm going in that direction, and and this is what my team's going to mold to be. But again, you're in year one. You haven't even started yet, so you don't even know what I'm talking about. Best thing to do, it's March or April, possibly May. You're going to have to start planning ahead for the live draft. And I would recommend getting something like I have. There's all kinds of websites out there. I can show you how to build something like this. I can show you what I've done with labels. These are 8 by 2 inch labels. They're huge. You can see them from like 30 yards away. My dad's 70 years old and he can read them. But it's just the enjoyment factor. It's the fun factor. I get a kick out of this every year. My backyard turns into this, memorial holiday type of, fiasco. It's great. Everyone looks forward to it. It's one of my favorite times of the year. But you're going to have to get this work done now in the off season, because before you know it, you're going to be doing a core draft, and if your core draft starts in May or June, well, you're not going to have any time for this stuff. So do this in March or April. My recommendation for step 4, get all this stuff set, right? You got to get all these labels. You got to get things set up. There's all kinds of options online, whether you do it as big as I do here or if you go smaller, there's all kinds of boards and options. Get this done. Have your buddies build later. You might have to upfront some money on a credit card. That's just what commissioners deal with. I've dealt with it for 20 years. Your guys will pay you back, or you can incorporate it into the entry fee. But that's what I recommend step 4. Set the stage now for what's going to be the live draft. And now, as I talk through what the core draft is going to entail, you can thank me later for starting this while you listen to the next step, which is step number 5. Okay, thanks, guys. Let's get on. Bye. Well, if you've made it to step number 5 in my Dynasty League instructions, you're doing just fine. We're almost done, because now we're going to talk about the core draft. Let's assume, go backwards just a little bit, that you watch Super Bowl Sunday in February. In March, you began step 1 of my instructions, okay? You've gathered all the people that you want to recruit in this league from a redraft league. You've talked it up. You got your rules committee established. Everything's looking really good because now your constitution is ready. Okay? The NFL in April is going to have their rookie draft, which is really fun to watch, by the way. So now what? Well, in my humble opinion, I think you need to separate the rookies from the veteran NFL players when you start a dynasty core draft. And I'll tell you why. Because the following year and thereon, you're only going to draft rookies anyway, so why not start here? Why not start now? Train your people on how this works. Here's what I recommend. Why don't you draw up a date? If you want to make it early, fine. If you want to start trading, fine. Some people, in one league I've done, we began the core draft in May or June. I've had others that wait until July or August. So it's up to you. Pick on how you want to do it. In one league that we did it earlier in May, we got to trade, okay? But you have to remember, not everybody's going to trade. Year 1 of a dynasty league is usually everyone holds all their cards. They know who they want. They're not going to trade any of those picks or those players. So maybe you wait until your normal day anyways. Maybe that's July or August. And then what you do is you do this part online. There's a great website out there, myfantasyleague.com. You can do it online, and it can be a slow draft. What's a slow draft? That means people get maybe 5 to 6 hours on a clock. There's a sleep clock, so people can go to bed at night. Let's say that's around 10 or 11 at night. That person's pick is paused until the morning at 8 a.m., so you can actually sleep. There's life happening. There's kids. There's work. This is the hardest part of starting a dynasty league, if I have to put my finger on it. That's why I'm spending the most time. Because here, you've already had your constitution in place, and now you have to draft these people on, okay, how big is the roster size? Let's say it's 30. Okay, now you have to figure out, are you doing individual defense? If so, you're going to have to tell your people, listen, there's no limit to any of these roster spots, or however you want to draft, or you can hoard quarterbacks, so you can do whatever you want. After that's all done, now you let the core draft take its course. You could do this online on your phone. It's really cool. When it's your turn to pick, you make your choice. It gives guys 6 hours to do research. The thought, and what I emphasize here, is have your guys ready for their pick so that one guy doesn't have to wait 6 hours until it's his pick online. maybe the guy in front of him and the guy behind him, whatever, they get all their picks ready to go. And then it's a smoother process, see? Okay. We did 20 rounds. You can do 15 rounds. You can do whatever you want. As soon as this core draft is over, you're in business, man, because the hardest part's over. Everyone has their team, and you can keep them forever. Or however you want to, slight the rules if you want to make it a time limit. But you're done after the core draft, and good job, because it's really, really tough to do and organize. So if you made it this far, even in the video, I commend you. If you've made it this far and you're kind of doing this as we go, good for you, because core draft's tough. As a commish, it's exhausting. But once you're there, you're looking good, because step number 6, you get a live rookie draft. This is the fun part. I do it in my backyard. We do 15 rounds at the beginning, okay? You're welcome to draft any of the non-rookies that were left over from the core draft. Remember, the core draft is only veterans. That was for the reason. Now this is only for rookies, okay? The important part here is as you get your people used to how these rookie drafts work, you can start trading guys, trading assets, picks. I only allow in my leagues, you can only trade out 1 year at a time. So if I'm sitting in 2016, the farthest I can go is 17. I'm not going to have a league where you can trade 18, 19, 2020 picks. It gets ridiculous. Now, there could be a limit to that. It's up to your rules committee. But the live draft is by far my favorite. Once this is all plugged into your website, now we're going to talk about where those players go. This is still step 6, but it's kind of maybe a bookmark underneath step 6. The taxi squad. Where do all these rookies go? Okay. Hear me out on this. Let's think of a bullpen in baseball. Okay, this is your farm system, if you will, in football. The taxi squad was started by the Cleveland Browns. Paul Brown, right, the owner, he had all these football players he wanted to put on payroll in the NFL. So he asked the league, well, listen, I run this taxi cab company. Can I just put them on the cab payroll, but they'll still be on the practice squad for the NFL? And the guy says, yeah, that's fine, commissioner in the league. NFL says, that's fine, go ahead. It was known as the taxi squad because he was putting them on his own company's cab company, taxi, whatever company. And that's how it began. So from here, what you do in Dynasty is the same thing. What's really fun is you have this core veteran team, you draft all these rookies, and they start and live and breathe in the taxi squad. Mine goes up to 15 spots. I've played in other leagues where you can go all the way up to 25. Doesn't matter. It's up to you whether you're going to promote them or you're going to let them marinate or whatever you're going to do. Drop them, trade them, whatever. But our league, how I do it, you can only keep these guys on the taxi squad or your farm system or your bullpen, whatever you want to call it. It's not your active roster. Okay, it's a sub-roster below, okay, for 2 years. And after 2 years' time, the website keeps track, and you must move them. You must trade them. You must drop them. You must do whatever you want with them. Now, a couple questions that come up all the time. Anytime you touch a taxi squad guy from a bullpen, he is live. You trade him, promote him, whatever. You can't put him back down on the taxi, if that makes sense. The only way you do taxi squad additions are through the draft. Otherwise, the draft is no good. The draft is worthless if you do it otherwise. Again, you have your live draft every year. You figure out how many taxi squad rounds you want to have. Then you have your players on your taxi and your roster, remember, from the core that we already did, that are already on your roster, and now you're ready to go. Because by now the season's going to start, and maybe there's a really key rookie like Zeke Elliott that you're automatically going to promote. You may do so, and you can move on. From there, you're going to have to figure out how the waiver wire works. I think this is a completely new video I'll have to put out because it's very difficult to go over all at once. But I like every Tuesday night, it clears. Taco Tuesday never got better. Wednesday morning, it's open. And then Thursday, it closes before game time, reopens on Friday type of thing, moves through the week. And we use a FAAB, blind budget. But one thing we do a little different is our budget replaces every year April 1st. So it really feels like you're an owner of a team because now if you blow through all your budget money, you got to wait till April till you pass go. That's why I put the Monopoly game there. Otherwise, what I've found really fun is guys that don't make the playoffs in December. Well, if they hang out January, February, all of a sudden March, March NFL starts moving guys around. There's trades happening or rumors of trades. Maybe that guy still has some budget left over, and he's got this like 1 month, 30-day window where he's actually got an advantage because everyone else maybe blew through their budget. He saved his pennies. Maybe March he goes and spends his money. Or he just keeps his money, and April 1st, now he's got even more money. It should be kind of fun to see how that works through the years. But what we do is, and I'm only saying this out of my league, is January and February, we close down. There's no sense to do fantasy football. Then everyone's sick of it. Okay, I don't care. You can trade year-round in your own league, but mine, we take a 2-month break. We pick it back up March 1st, and now you can do some off-season acquisitions. The waiver wire, you must use money only. There's no free ads. You can drop all you want, but if you want to add a guy, it's going to cost you $1. We use a $1,000 budget for the year. Listen, some other final thoughts. Keep in mind as you commish a league, you're going to get opinions. You're going to get a suggestion box. It's like owning a restaurant. Everyone has, I got this idea for it, man. It's going to be so good. Just take it with a grain of salt. Find a website that has a poll. Have them put it on a poll. It saves you a lot of time. You get all these text messages. Oh, it'd be really cool, commish. Yeah, put it on a poll. The rules committee, again, you're the king. You hold the gold. You can do whatever you want. But I like to delegate it to my rules committee, and they'll bring me the problems. And if I have to, I'll come over the top of the whole league and I'll say, no, this isn't right. We're going to go this direction. But again, I let my rules committee vote on things so that I don't have to fight. I don't have to deal with it. I've already set my constitution up. I've already set everything in place to where I'm not going to have all these loopholes. I'm not going to have all these problems. But if they do arise for whatever reason, you're right there. This has been Johnny B of UpsideDownDrafting.com. Thank you for watching this. I hope I've helped you out. Go start that Dino League. Get it going. You're going to love it. And I'll see you on the next show. Thanks so much, guys. Take care. Bye now.